Good morning, everyone. We've just now hit 10:30, so we're going to start with today's investor briefing while a few more people are logging on. My name is Alfred, and I'm part of the investor relations team at Novatti, and we'll be hosting today's investor briefing. Today's a landmark day for Novatti with the launch of its banking business, the International Bank of Australia. We're joined today by Novatti CEO Peter Cook and Guy Carvalho, the CEO of the International Bank of Australia, who will provide an overview of the bank, and then we'll open the floor to questions from investors and analysts. Throughout the presentation, if you do have any questions, please type them into your Q&A box on the left-hand side of your screen. If you're on a smart device, it's at the bottom of your screen, and then we'll read out the questions after the presentation. I know many of you are very much looking forward to hearing from Peter and Guy. So Peter, let's start with you and what today's announcement means for Novatti.
Thanks, Alfred, and good morning all. Today, very big day for Novatti. We rejoined the trading boards after a two-day halt. The halt being premised by the announcement from APRA that we had been granted our bank license for the International Bank of Australia. This morning, we've released as Novatti a full announcement covering that, and also a short presentation on the bank, which Guy will take us through. We started on the journey for the bank license 4 years ago. Notwithstanding COVID interruptions, it has been an absolute key plank of our strategy. And above all, it shows that Novatti does deliver on long-term strategy. We've spoken about the bank license for a number of years. Often when we spoke about other licenses, such as our acquiring licenses, and we've in fact over time delivered all that we said. The bank license has taken longer, but it now absolutely completes our set of licenses and really brings through a lot of the capabilities for the group. We have a unique ASX-listed group. Within the group, we have acquiring licenses, issuing licenses, cross-border licenses and capabilities, and now a banking license. We also have applications in for licenses in other jurisdictions, as well as holding licenses in New Zealand and Canada. We have very strong yet diversified revenue streams that in fact work with each other in the payments world, and having the bank license and the infrastructure of the bank will further that. We have a very strong management team and domain knowledge focused on the area of payments, and in particular we're really benefiting from the huge thematic of digital transformation in the area of financial services and payments. So talking about strategy for a minute, the strategic rationale for Novatti building a bank license and owning part of a bank is that it gives us real infrastructure and real licensing within the world of payments. It allows us to be largely in control of our own future and to drive the deepest margins with a lot of our payment services. As a shareholder, we will drive a return both from our equity interest and also as a result of improved cost of services for many of the services that Novatti provides. It is the culmination of many years of work, and in fact now leverages us into a new period where we can build out this bank and really help grow our business and the appropriate margins. Talking about financials, we are very, very well funded. We've used some of our own cash, $5 million, to actually cement the bank license capital and increase the position from what we'd thought where we'd be at 70% to about 91%. So essentially, as of today, Novatti is a 91% shareholder in the bank. Our EBITDA improves as a result of now the issue of the bank license, because Guy and his team, where we have been expensing their cost and managing it at about $250,000 a month, now moves within the bank regime. And so to some extent, the core Novatti payments business, our EBITDA improves by circa $3 million per year. Just on cash, at the end of September, we had circa $14 million of available cash. At the end of November, we get the special dividend from Reckon of $12.8 million. And yes, $5 million has gone to the bank, but net, we've got over $20 million of available cash to run the core Novatti business, and the bank itself is funded with $8 million. So Novatti has plenty of cash and liquid assets, and now the bank is funding itself. So with that quick summary from me, I hand over to Guy, who can introduce himself and then go through the bank presentation. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Peter. A bit about my background, without going into too much detail. I've had 30 years banking and payments experience. I started my career with ANZ in the Electronic Network Services Department, which became the Global Payments Division of the bank. At that stage, we were early days of rolling out Visa cards, Australia's own domestic card, bank card, ATM networks were proliferating around the cities, and merchants were being given imprinters, or click-clacks as we used to call them, which was the first significant step to becoming a cashless society. Fast forward, then I went into ANZ International, where I was posted to China. We obtained the ANZ bank license in China. I opened up ANZ's offices in southern China, and for the first time was exposed to the challenges of cross-border banking, sending money home, receiving money from home, investing overseas. Costly, it took time, and a lot of those challenges, the complex processes, a lot of those challenges still exist today. In more recent times, in the last 10 years or so, I was posted to Australia Post, and I was the Enterprise Payments Program Director there, and it was on the cusp, really, of the digital disruption that was slowly taking force, sweeping through, if you like, the world. And here in Australia, it was non-banks, fintech starting to disintermediate banks, bringing on things such as digital wallets, enabling digital remittances. And it's here where I met Peter Cook and got introduced to the Novatti team, and where we both saw a significant opportunity in providing what I call payments banking services to fintechs. So what is our vision? Our vision is to be a global payments bank, a bank that will provide banking and payment services to enable the increasing global mobility of capital, commerce, and people. So this slide here is just a snapshot of the global payments value chain. So across capital, across commerce, across people, you can see the numbers are significant. By 2025, we expect $2.5 trillion of revenue to flow through payments. That's a significant opportunity for us to be a bank that truly understands the nuances of payments that enable us to operate across those three verticals. Again, I've touched on a lot of that. Again, it is about simplifying payments. It's allowing businesses such as Novatti, fintechs, providing services across issuing. How do we, as a bank, enable fintechs to enable their customers, consumers, to make payments? Acquiring. How do we help businesses accept payments? Not just traditional payments, but the fast evolving alternative payment sectors. We're going to be moving in the near future into stable coins and crypto, and I'm sure many, many other diverse payment instruments. Today, banks don't play in that space. It is really now the realm of fintechs. Fintechs, though, ultimately need banking services to be able to take the money from where it's sitting at the moment and put it to where it's going to go. Everything in between, fintechs disrupt. So this slide, I'll spend a little bit more time on this one. This one goes to the heart of the opportunity that we see truly exists for a payments bank here in Australia. And there are only a handful at the moment. You've got the wider payments network, so issuing, acquiring, significant numbers, 16 billion transactions being processed annually across direct debit, getting a salary paid, to making payments and at merchants, to housing payments. There's a lot of payments that are crossing the various different payment rails. One of the sectors that we found as we worked with Novatti is them servicing money transfer operators to help their customers send money home and to receive money. We've explored that segment, which we're calling on the screen here, migrants. And we know there's a significant revenue pool that exists in serving migrants. There are no bank providers today that service migrants at the commencement of their journey to coming across into Australia and establishing themselves, whether they're temporary migrants as students or professionals, or even tourists that are coming across at the moment. Each of those verticals, students, professionals, and tourists, are incredibly valuable verticals. And I'll just walk you through the student one, perhaps on the next slide. So just spending a little bit of time on this, you've got a customer sitting in downtown Mumbai. They're a potential customer, actually. They're looking to come here to Australia. They've been allowed entry into RMIT University. They now would like to make the payment for the school fees, uni fees, as well as put a bond down for an apartment. At the moment, they are not able to do that with any Australian bank. They can't open up a bank account. They can't use that bank account. They are forced through the traditional bank-to-bank international payments environment, which takes out anywhere between 10 to 15% in transaction fees, FX fees, etc. What we are setting up is the ability to offer that customer a bank account before they arrive. They are able to set that bank account up. They're able to immediately operate that bank account. They can top it up from their local, in this case, Indian bank that they have in real time into our bank account. They are then able to make an immediate payment via BPay to hold the spot at uni, plus also put the bond down for their apartment. And then, to be honest, move away with the much bigger challenge of going from one country to another. The payments and banking, I feel like challenge or pain point is immediately solved, which does not happen today. And again, if you recall the slide earlier, if you go back a couple of slides, students on average, 200,000 students coming in on each year, they bring with them around $5,000 each, a lot of them in cash. That is 5,000 times 200,000. That's $1 billion worth of cash, Australian dollars, that are coming into our economy. And right now, there is no bank that is actively seeking to win that business. Okay, those students, 50% of them will get a job within the first year. They'll earn around $24,000 a year. That is a significant amount of money that's going into that bank account. Again, billions of dollars. And that's students. If you look at professionals, the average professional comes across as 200,000 professionals. As you know, that's just been increased by the federal government. They're coming across with $20,000 to $40,000 in cash, from an individual or someone bringing their family across. Again, significant value pool for us to target that no one at the moment is targeting. So if you like, the size of the market, we believe is significant, and we believe we will play a unique role in that market as a payments bank, and a bank that's going to leverage really a lot that we have grown together with Novatti and Novatti's skill set that Peter's walked you through earlier. We're just depicting here how we're going to be different to the existing players in market through some of the services that we'll bring to life. We're not saying we're going to be doing every service uniquely compared to our competitors, but the focus that we have on becoming a payments bank, we will be uniquely providing each of those services that right now are difficult to get. And just a picture of our board. And back to you, Pete.
So thank you very much, Guy. Alfred, I think we've sort of given an overview of the bank. The important thing maybe is that there is immediate opportunities for the bank to acquire customers and to drive revenue services. That there is demand for the services that we're talking about. We are not competing into the rump of the big banks, and in fact, that the differentiated offerings really go to experience and understanding that comes out of the Novatti Group today. So there'll be this significant understanding of the services and the customers that need those services. Let's go to questions, Alfred, and yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Peter and Guy, for that detailed presentation. We have had quite a few questions come in already, so if anyone does have any they'd like addressed by Peter or Guy, please type them into your Q&A box. If there are a few questions of the same, I will heap them together. The first question comes from Luke, and it's directed to you, Guy. Has the license delay had any negative impact on the business strategy?
No, thanks, Luke. A fair question given what's happened with COVID and some of the delays that have been enforced upon us. The answer is no. So we've taken, if you like, the last few years and, if you like, some of those enforced delays to really build out the bank a lot further and with a lot more clarity as to what we can do. So firstly, on the market research side, we deeply now understand the various segments that we want to focus on. So whether that be fintechs, we very clearly understand what challenges they are facing with trying to get their services today from banks who are increasingly risk averse when it comes to providing bank account services, to migrants, as I walked you through that example previously, whether it be a student, a professional, or indeed the burgeoning tourist market. Perhaps the biggest area of development that we've been able to achieve over the past couple of years is building out what I would call our core technology platform, our payments and ledger management system. So this capability will actually allow us to scale very, very quickly into market to actually be able to provide banking services, the service that we've been talking about, which we'll be able to monetize. So that payments and ledger management service, that will allow us to issue bank accounts quickly. It'll allow us to issue different payment instruments, give our customers access to payment rails. And we've effectively placed Novatti onto that system. And so our ability to test it and scale it across issuing, across acquiring, across payments processing, settlement, reconciliation, reporting, we've been able to achieve that over the past 2 years. So as much as, yes, it's there's been a delay, if you like, but it's actually been, we've taken that to our advantage to be able to build out a lot of our tech stack.
Thanks, Guy. Next question comes from Robert. Peter, you've spoken about your push to positive cash flow recently. Can you just talk through the impact of the announcement here?
So in the past, we have been essentially expensing all of the cost of the bank. Going back 2 or 3 years ago, that wasn't the case, but for the last couple of years we have. So if you look at our statutory accounts, we're fully expensing the costs within our accounts. In a cash flow sense, for the last X number of months, we've been eating the bank costs, as it were, at about 250,000 a month, plus or minus. So in our move to cash flow positive, this brings us forward about 250,000 a month, or 3 million a year.
Thanks, Peter. Question from Ken. Sounds like IBoA is B2B, yet the example given is B2C. Can you please clarify?
Which that one, Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ken, we actually really are looking at both. So if I go back to the fintech example, so we know, as I said, that fintechs are looking for banks who understand their business models, understand that they want to be in control of issuing that payment instrument, that bank account, to their customers. And their customers, in their case, are consumers potentially. So we absolutely want to play in that space. A segment within that space that we have become to understand very, very clearly over the past 18, 24 months are migrants. And again, within migrants, there are, yes, consumers who are coming across, moving across border, wanting to invest, in various countries back home. We'll absolutely service them. But then 36% of small businesses are also migrants. And the pain, as I mentioned, I think early on, that I saw when I was in China and in international and Asia and with ANZ, the ability to provide those small businesses with cross-border banking services, that hasn't changed much. That trade finance, the pain of doing that, those types of transactions, we will absolutely bring solutions in there. So we aren't necessarily just focused on a B2B solution, but certainly there are two segments here, the fintech space, and then focusing on also the migrants as a priority, the migrants as a sector.
Peter, next question comes from Anthony for you. Wondering if having Aussie Raddy will assist in the pending applications in Europe and Singapore.
Anthony, in terms of, so in Europe, we've applied for an e-money issuing license. There's commonality in how we put together the application, and potentially, a number of companies in Europe convert e-money issuing or EMI licenses to bank licenses over time. So we think for that second step, which, has not been decided on yet, but it would absolutely accelerate that if if the regulators in Europe see that it's the same group that holds a bank license in Australia. But prima facie, that license stands on its own. In terms of the Singapore license, we've been working on a money services business license, and really that sort of stands alone as well.
Thank you, Peter. I've got a few people asking about marketing for you, Guy. Can you outline the marketing strategy, how you find customers, and when do you plan to launch these marketing plans?
Yeah, thanks, Alfred. So as you'll see on our website, if you go to our website at iboa.com.au, we are currently have a restricted banking license. So we are at the moment restricted from offering any service to the general public, if you like. So our first step is to build out the banking component of the infrastructure and get that approved by the regulator. We hope to be launching our first live account in about 6 months' time, again, quarantined. We hope to then achieve, if you like, full ADI status within 12 months, Alfred. So our marketing will slowly ramp up from in the next few months ahead to start positioning ourselves, again, leveraging off Novatti's partnerships globally in India, China, Singapore, Malaysia, leveraging off those relationships to start, if you like, establishing distribution points where they, working together, will find those customers. So Novatti already has a significant customer base across its issuing, acquiring, and payments processing business, cross-border business. We want to leverage that, and then we want to importantly leverage the partnerships they have globally to reach out into the segments that we want to serve.
Thanks, Guy. Next question comes from Sarah. Peter, you mentioned increasing margins for payment services. How does this work?
A lot of the services that we buy, so we are buying from another bank, as it were. So it might be an underlying settlement service or cross-border payment service where we need bank infrastructure or rails to do that. And even when IBA is fully deployed, we'll still use services from other banks. But a number of services that we currently consume will come down in price because we're buying from ourselves. And when I say buying from ourselves, within a transparent way, IBA makes a margin from it, but hopefully we're doing better pricing than we currently are.
Thanks, Peter. Just one last question for today, and then we will wrap up. Does this enable Novatti to apply more services to Reckon customers? Does the license enable Novatti to offer more services to Reckon customers?
So right now, today, no. Aspirationally, yes. And and there's a few things to that. One, we're working very closely with Reckon on bringing payment services to their cloud customers, and that is in the early stages, but maturing of offers to bring those payment services and improve hopefully the businesses of those Reckon customers. In terms of providing payment services, we've seen in a number of countries around the world and even in Australia, where there is an understanding that essentially a business customer has a portal, whether it be their accounting system, ERP, that connects to their banking services, their understanding of cash flow, lending. So we have had strategic discussions on the subject, but it would probably be a decision for Reckon to say we understand and want to drive those services to our customers. But I think the entree is initially the payment services, primarily acquiring, that we're doing at the moment, and then over time the maturing is that the accounting services company also offers this tight integration into banking services.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Guy and Peter. That is all the time we have for today. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to email them in and we'll respond offline. Peter and Guy, on behalf of all Novatti shareholders and those in attendance, thank you very much for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you all.
Thanks.